Welcome everyone to Haven of Horror. As always, I am Subject. I have Robert and Torgo. I don't have a clever nickname for this. I mean, I guess I could just call you a character that we're talking about, but I don't know who's on your list. So if you haven't noticed from the title, the thumbnail, our little background that I found on Google, that I do not own, by the way, so don't come at me. We are ranking our top 10 final girls in the horror genre. We did narrow this down primarily to slashers because I feel like that is kind of the original final girl, and then when you add in like the rest of the subgenres of horror, just it gets out of control. Uh, how was your guys' lists? Are you happy with them?
I'm pretty happy with mine, although I will say I do have one or two on there that I'm not sure you would count as slasher movies, but we'll get to
Uh-oh.
that. I
Noah,
broke
you
the
Success is
rules.
bastard!
coming.
We established this weeks ago.
Did we? I don't think we actually established it. I think we talked about it, but I don't think we came to a final decision. But anyway, I
That's fine.
think I think the one that I have, you'll be okay with it.
Now Hayden's in the chat just being an asshole. Hey, how's it going, Adam Arch? Noah is always cheating. It's true. Okay, so just to be thorough, because I went down like a list that was pretty comprehensive of movies that I hadn't even heard of. And so just to be thorough, I do have some honorable mentions and some dishonorable mentions that I will get into. What I thought we might do, I hope to get this done in about an hour, just because we don't need to be on this all night. So if one of us says one and it's on the other's list, we can just throw out like what rank they are in ours if you guys want to.
Mhm.
That way we're not repeating being repetitive. So
Yep.
I'm gonna start with a dishonorable mention, and this is the reason I made this list because it's like, oh yeah, I hate this character. Is Chris from Friday 3? I hate her. She's awful. Worst final girl in the franchise.
Wow.
I said it.
She's better than Part 8 Final Girl. I'll say that.
No. Part 8 final girl
I,
is not great. Chris from 3 is worse.
so let me just say, I at
No, it's like
least
I don't
remember.
remember who that is.
I well, no, I do remember who the part 3 one is. I don't remember who the part 8 one is, but I don't remember that movie in general.
What a fraud.
Also, just to spoil my list a bit, what's funny is I'm wearing a Friday the 13th shirt, but there is no Friday the 13th final girl on my list.
You're fired.
So
Spoiler alert.
the only like final person character I care about is Tommy, and he doesn't count.
Wow. There's like at least 3 final girls in the Friday franchise that you could have put on your list, Noah.
I thought you were gonna stop right there. There's at least 3 in the franchise.
Yeah, just 3 in the franchise. Did you guys have any that you didn't quite make your list that you want to shout out, or any ones that you particularly dislike? Did I do extra work and nobody else did?
I have several honorable mentions. I was going to save mine until I get to the end of my list when I get near my number one. I won't be surprised if a couple of my honorable mentions end up on either of your lists. But it's several, so I'm going to save those for the end. Noah, do you have like one or two, or
No,
same as me?
John definitely did more work than me. I only have 10.
God damn it, Noah. Okay, so then I'll save the rest for the end when Robert and I do our honorable mentions because Noah's a slacker. Noah, give us your number 10.
All right, I'll start off, I think, with maybe a slight curveball, but my number 10 is Maxine from X and
Oh, wow.
the titular
I
Maxine
didn't even
film.
think to add her. Also,
Yeah,
real quick, Adam Arch says I insist that this goes on all night. We are playing Resident Evil 4 right after this, so this can't go on all night. But I appreciate you
yeah,
wanting to hang out with us all night.
yeah. But my number 10 is Maxine, which I didn't really expect myself to put her on this list, because one of my big problems with the movie Maxine is the character herself kind of has really nothing to do in that movie. The plot kind of just happens to her. And I don't think she's as interesting as of a character as Pearl is. Especially that movie coming off of the Pearl movie. But I do still find her a kind of an interesting character. She will
I
not,
think.
won't
Sorry,
accept a life that she doesn't
doesn't
deserve,
deserve.
or that
I
that whole
think
thing.
she deserves it just for X. Like I think she's the best character in X.
Yeah, I think X has a lot of weird and interesting characters in that movie.
Yeah,
Um,
I forgot like either I didn't see her or I just kind of skipped over it because I was working on my list and I was like, yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's a good pick.
yeah, no, for recent ones, she was one of the first ones that came to mind.
I think
Yeah,
most
I
of mine are older. Uh,
yeah, I half agree with Noah. I actually find her more interesting in the Maxine movie. I like that we go full anti-hero with her in that. I don't agree that she doesn't get much to do. I actually think she gets a lot more to do in that
well, you
third
got to remember,
movie.
Noah read the Wikipedia summary. He's just going
That's true.
based on that.
Yeah, I went to the
But
theater to read the Wikipedia summary.
but I do agree that of the two characters that Mia Goth plays, Maxine and Pearl's obviously the more interesting character and the real standout. But in that first film, X, while I like her a lot, she doesn't get a lot to do until the very end. Like she is interesting and I like her performance a lot, but that's the tricky thing when you have a final girl going up against a couple of elderly slashers. She can't really fight them the whole movie. Like it's not until the very
No,
end
but
where
but
she
her
even knows what's going
character,
on.
but the character work I think is strong enough
Yeah,
make her eligible, even if you're only looking at X.
she tries to save Jenna Ortega. That's something.
I was shocked they killed the
Tries and
pig.
fails.
Hey, Jenna wouldn't listen. That was on
That's
her.
true.
Robert, what is your number 10?
Well, my number 10, I wanted to include since I figured she probably won't make either of your lists. Not sure about Noah, but I went with Marilyn Burns as Sally in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the OG.
That is also my number 10.
I
Oh,
Oh
wow. We synced
wow,
up.
you two synced up. I
I
completely forgot about her. I should have included her.
I will say I recognize that she is a classic and like I love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but there's also just not a lot to that character. She's just there to be like the avatar for the audience going through this horrible event.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because they're going for realism and what they're going for works if she's just a believable person. These are all just regular people thrown into this insane situation. Like she's not meant to be a fully formed three-dimensional character with a strong arc. Like that movie's not interested in setups and payoffs and deeper themes with the individual characters. It's just a normal person thrown into the situation. And as a result,
Yeah,
yeah, she's not that interesting. She doesn't get a lot to do for most of us, but then does get one of the longest final girl
Yeah.
slasher chases ever. She has that going for her,
yeah.
and then I think we all agree like the third act is, as you, me, John, like the third act is why she makes our list,
Yes.
where
The
it's
final
just
scene.
pure
Well,
terror.
and the one shot that every movie after has to recreate, even if it's forced.
But that's a different girl. That's not Sally.
Oh yeah, that isn't Sally, is it?
She doesn't even have that.
Listen, I remember Sally and I remember Franklin because Franklin annoys the shit out of me. I don't remember any other character in that movie as much as I love that movie.
Can Franklin be my dishonorable mention final girl?
No, because he dies.
Oh, okay, that's what disqualifies him. Okay,
Yeah, you can't really be final if you're dead.
that's true.
No. Yeah.
Although
Noah. Oh, sorry.
well, there are. It's rare, but there are. I think final girls who die at like the very end of the movie. I don't know if I have any examples of that on my list, but sometimes you have an ambiguous fate.
Um, no, there's definitely
There are
examples like in
exceptions.
what we've talked about as like horror movies with bad endings, so to speak.
Mhm.
Um, but you're right. Now that you've said it, I can't think of any. I know they're out there.
The first one off the top of my head is spoiler alert, Jordana Brewster in Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, the prequel one. Like she is the final girl of that movie. She also has to die at the very end because it's a prequel. So that's one example that I
So
can
real
think of.
quick,
Not on my list
Adam
though.
March says Noah forgot to read the Texas Chainsaw Wiki. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tyler, what are your odds you guys sync up on the first one? Although he said sunk up. I I'm
Two of
gonna
us
say
did.
I'm gonna say high. No, on the first one, like
Oh,
on
okay.
number.
Our
I'm
number
assuming he
ones.
means number one. I'm gonna say there's probably a high chance.
I think there's a high
Uh,
chance you and Robert sunk up. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if
and
I'll
then
sync
Adam
up with
March
you
says there are
guys.
final girls who die in sequels. Of course, of
That is
course.
true. Many examples of that.
But there's still a final girl because they lived through one movie.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So my number 9, and this is where the chat crucifies me, is Laurie Strode. Um, I think she's really
Fired.
good in. I think she's really good in the first movie. The first movie is just not one of my favorites. And then it's pick your poison on which Laurie you like after that. Do you like the part 2 one? Do you like the H2O one? Do you like the 2018 one?
Because they're all kind of different characters.
They are all different
Yep.
characters, so there is not a consistent characterization for Laurie. And just in that first movie, it is kind of the same thing as Sally, where it's just like this is supposed to just be a normal like person, and you're watching them go through this terror. So you get a great third act, but again, she's just a person. Like she doesn't stand out, in my opinion,
So
outside of a good performance.
Lori is actually my number 6, and I thought
Oh,
that was too low.
oh,
um, but yeah, I'm actually kind of with you, John. As much as I think I like Halloween more than you do as a whole. Um, Laurie herself in that first movie is good, and Jamie Lee Curtis plays her well. But I don't find her that interesting of a character in that particular movie. I think that in 2018, I think is where I like her the most in any of the sequels where we try to develop her more. But then even after that, that goes to places I don't really like in the sequels.
that's that's the only
Um,
reason she's not higher. Because if I included 2018, she would be higher. But
mhm.
then that characterization also changes in the next movie.
Yeah, yeah, and even in H2O, I don't. I've only seen H2O once, so I don't remember really how she's characterized in that movie, and then she dies in the very next one. So
Well, it's funny because
I'm mostly
28 or
focusing on the first one.
H2O is like the polar opposite of 2018 because in that
Yeah,
one she's like scared of everything, and that's like the source of conflict with her and her son
yeah.
is that she's like super paranoid. So our take on Laurie Strode in both reboots is just polar opposites. She is either a gun nut prepper or a terrified introvert. There is no in between.
I think that those are actually two logical, completely different, but like both are. I can see where both takes are coming from with
Yeah,
that.
I think the best take would be somewhere in the middle.
Mhm.
You know what I
Maybe
mean?
so, yeah.
Yeah, I've always said that Laurie in that first film is kind of a blank slate. You can do whatever with in the sequels, which is interesting now that we have so much variety. But yeah, I'd also say that 2018 Laurie is my favorite. But yeah, a lot of highs and lows with that
So
character over the course of that franchise.
so Robert, you didn't chime in. Is she not on your list?
Oh, she's on my list.
Well, if one
Uh,
of us says somebody and they're on your list, you're supposed to say where they're
Is
at.
she number one?
Okay, this is where Noah and I actually synced up because she is also my number 6.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
See, and I thought
Robert wasn't
6 was too
listening
low.
to the rules.
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's
Okay.
fine. Robert, what is your number 8?
Is it
I
Robert or
could say my
me?
number 8. I could also say my number 9. Or it could be Noah's turn
Oh,
after
wait.
following the rules.
Wait. Sorry. Hold on. Stop.
This has gone off the
But
rails.
Robert just or wait.
No, no, no. It was me, then Robert, then you.
Oh, sorry. You just
We
threw me off.
started with
Okay.
me.
So
Yeah.
Noah, what is your next one? What number are we on? I don't
We
know
have
anymore.
9. We're on 9.
What is your number 9?
My number 9 is Sienna Shaw from Terrifier 2 and 3.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what threw me off because I said Laurie Strode as my number 9, and then you chimed in with 6. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on track.
That's fine. That's fine.
So I will say she is my number 5.
Cool.
Oh, she is also my number 5.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There you go. Yeah, I really like Sienna. Now the only time I've seen Terrifier 2 was that one time we watched it live and we were talking over it. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to like live with this character, but I like her a lot in 3 as well. I think what she gets to do in 3 is great. She goes through hell in that movie.
She
Oh
does.
yeah.
Um, yeah, just like I think of the recent Final Girls I've seen, the most she has the most like pain that she has to go, like physical pain that she has to go through in any of these movies. Yeah, so I think she's a really well characterized, really strong character. I just think she's really solid, altogether. I just don't have that like as big of a connection to her as I do to some of the other ones on my list.
I will say that character is the prime example of an actress making or breaking a role. Because I think on paper that character is next to nothing, and the lore doesn't make sense because it changes every movie. But
Yeah,
that actress is just so good that it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
yeah,
Lauren Lavera makes that role. She's really cool. She's really likable. Definitely one of my favorite modern final girls.
Not that there's a lot to pick from nowadays, but uh, does anybody else have anything to say about Sienna?
that's about it.
All right, Robert, you're up.
My number 9 is Amy Steele as Jenny in Friday the 13th 2, the only Friday the
Ooh.
13th final girl to make my top 10. But I think she's the best. She's likable, she's smart, she uses her wits and powers of psychology to defeat Jason. It's really contrived, but it works out for her,
She's my
and
number
it's a
8.
good climax. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, good final girl. I'm glad somebody from the
Yeah,
Friday the 13th series made my list. I can't speak for everyone else here, but I like Jenny. She's
yeah.
cool.
If only that series had a good final girl, but
Oh
It
my
has a
god.
few. You fucking fraud.
no,
Okay,
Take
so
off that shirt.
no, not on stream. No,
whoa, Robert.
Robert wants me to strip everybody.
We gotta get those views, man. Whatever it takes.
No, I think Ginny's okay. I don't gush about her as much as some other people do, but yeah, I don't like her enough for her to make this list, unfortunately.
So I already said my number 8 since it matched up with Robert's number. That was your number 9, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll skip me. Noah, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is Kirsty Cotton from Hellraiser.
Oh my god.
She's
A not
Yeah, I
slasher
didn't.
pick.
I didn't put her on my list because that's not a slasher movie.
well,
Fuck you.
I'm playing by my own rules
It's
tonight.
fine. I mean,
It's fine.
it's whatever. That's fine.
She's a good
Yeah,
character.
I love Kirsty.
Great
She's
character.
she's a good character.
One of the few final girls or one of the few like protagonists not to be ruined by shitty sequels because she doesn't come back. Except for 6,
Well,
and you can just
yeah,
ignore that one.
1 and
She's
2.
in that movie for like 5 minutes.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I think what elevates the character too is the actor is really good. She gives a really solid performance in 1, and from what I remember in 2, I have to watch 2 again
You really
because I only
do.
watched it the one time. But yeah, no, she's good.
Slasher Fred, I think the final girl could be traced back to the Grimm fairy tales, especially in Hansel and Gretel, in how the final girl always manages to outsmart their bullies. Yeah, I mean it's a tale as old as time. It just in modern day it became synonymous with the slasher because that's the formula. Back to formula and all that.
Back to formula.
Robert, what is your number 8?
My number 8 is Olivia Hussey as Jess in Black Christmas, the OG. I like her a lot. That one, I'd say, is like a solid three-dimensional character played by a great actress, who doesn't get a lot to do because she's just unaware of some of the stuff going on throughout that movie, and doesn't get like a really strong fight at the end. I think a lot of the final girls on our lists have like really iconic chases or fights. This is one that ends on like kind of a downer, ambiguous note, but it totally works for that movie because that movie is very grounded and realistic and dark and serious. But for that material and for that character, I think she's great. So that is my number 8. Did she make either of your
She almost made
lists?
my list. I haven't lived with that movie long enough, so I don't
Same.
feel very strongly about that character. But that is a movie I like, and it has a remake that I like, and then one that I hear is terrible, but I haven't watched yet.
We'll get to it.
We'll
Right.
get to
No,
it.
I'm same with John. I need to watch Black Christmas again. I've only seen it one time and it was not the best viewing. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
you can say that again. I've seen it twice now, but a common theme with this is movies that I've seen 4 or 5 times that I've had time to really, live with. Even like Sienna, because she was on my list. I've seen Terrifier 2 4 or 5 times at this point. Even though
Yeah.
it's almost like 3 hours. All right. My number 7. This one might not be on either of your guys' list because I don't even know if you guys have seen this. But my number 7 is Aaron Harson from the movie You're Next.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's pretty good.
She's a really solid final girl. She's shown to be real capable. And that is a final girl that kind of has a bad ending where the whole thing, like, the ending, I won't spoil it because Noah hasn't seen it yet, but she has an interesting outcome compared to most of the people on these lists. And I like that
Mhm.
actress. I don't remember who plays her off the top of my head, but Your Next is a great little home invasion turned slasher movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a big one. I expected to pop up on these lists just because that's a really popular movie, but I also still have not seen it. So that's a big one I still
Yeah.
need to get to.
Yeah, it's an Adam Wingard movie who directed Peak, the Death Note movie. Uh,
You
Oh.
that's
fucking asshole.
that's the thing I know him from.
Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, it's not as good as Death Note though.
Anyway, Noah, what is your number 7?
My number 7. All right, so this is the other one where you guys scream at me for picking one that's not a slasher movie. But listen, if you listen to my argument, I think she counts, and it's Michelle from 10 Cloverfield Lane, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
That is not a slasher movie in the slightest.
No, but she's the final girl.
She is
It's the
technically a
same.
final girl. She's a
It
great
is the
character.
trope. Yeah, it is
No,
the
what's
trope.
funny is there is a slasher movie with Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It's Final Destination 3.
And have I seen Final
It's a sequel.
Destination 3?
Why didn't you watch it?
I'm sorry that I didn't watch every slasher movie in preparation for
You
this
should
stream,
be. No.
but no, I really like Michelle, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
That's a great
She
character.
I remember
great
liking her, but
character.
I've only seen that movie once.
I think her and John Goodman really play off each other well in that movie, and yeah, I do need to watch it again because it's been a while, but I do remember really liking her.
Well, one of these days we'll do another top 10, but just maybe like general survivor characters from horror. Open it up and,
Yeah,
and do
and it doesn't have to be girls; it can be like any gender.
just anybody. Adam March, funny, I just watched the original Cloverfield for the first time since the theater last week. How did that hold up for you, man? While
Yeah,
he's typing. Oh, sorry.
I'm not a big fan of the original Cloverfield,
I hate
funnily
that
enough.
movie.
Yeah,
I, s-
I really like the second one, but I don't really like the first one, and I've never
I,
seen 3.
I saw that first movie in theaters and it gave me a headache.
Yeah, I'm not a big found footage fan.
Yeah, same. We'll do
I do like
found
the first
footage
one a lot.
month.
Tyler, how do you know that I'm doing that right now? Can you see my screen?
He can.
That's really scary. I don't like that you're
Yeah.
looking at my search history.
No, Robert, what is your number 7?
My number 7 we've already covered. It's Mia Goth as
Yeah.
Maxine
Oh yeah, yeah.
in X.
Hey,
So then, do you
all
want to
right.
just go ahead and say your number? Have you already said your number 6? Because I feel like I remember you saying.
I have already said my number 6.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
so we're gonna
it was
skip.
both Lori. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna skip you until we get to number 5, just so we can keep this going in order. My number 6, and I'm kind of questioning now how high she is on my list. But it is Clear Rivers from the first 2 Final Destination movies, mostly the first one. I like that character a
Mhm.
lot. I think she's got a real interesting dynamic with the killer, which is death. And I hate what happens to her in 2, but it is what it is.
Yeah, she didn't make my list, but I do like that character, and we start at an interesting place with her in 2, and then we kind of waste her after that, which is a real shame. But yeah, I like her.
Adam Arch says it was better on the smaller screen. I thought it was solid. I mean, we'll have to cover it at some point. That is a horror film. And then
Right.
Slasher Fred, Karen Barclay from the original Child's Play, because she challenges stereotypes that blondes are dumb as they will always die. Yeah, but I mean, I've seen that challenge done better in other places. Like, I think she's fine in that movie, but
Is he talking about the mom in
I
the
think so.
original?
That's the only other Barclay that I can think of in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like her. She's a good character, but I consider Andy like the final boy of that
Yeah.
movie.
I also don't really see her as a
Oh.
challenge of the blonde stereotype because she's kind of stupid in that movie.
She does make some. I do like her. Great movie.
Okay, my numbers. That was number 6. Noah, what is your number 6?
My number 6 was Laurie Strode, so
Oh,
I
right,
think
right,
now
right.
we're on number 5.
Okay, so go ahead and say your number 5 because mine was already said.
My number 5 is Nancy Thompson from Nightmare on Elm Street.
That is my number 3.
Yeah, she's great. She's a great character. I really like her in the first movie. I know 3's the fan favorite, and I like what she has to do in that movie as well as kind of like the mentor character and like passing the torch to the Patricia Arquette character. But I think that that first movie, the story in that movie is really well executed. I don't love how it ends. I think we did the commentary on that, so I've talked about that, for quite a bit. But I do think that Nancy is she's one of the more compelling slasher final girls for me, just because of like how determined and how uh like ready she is to like get the slasher. And she's not just like
She's one of the only final girls I can think of just off the top of my head that actually goes looking for the monster instead of just, oh, the monster's here, now I have to.
Comes to her, right?
And
No, because
Robert,
she sets traps for Freddy, like
yeah,
she
Freddy gains 30
forces.
pounds when they set him on fire.
Yeah.
And Robert, there's our example of a final girl that doesn't necessarily get a happy ending if you count 3.
Yeah, exactly. And even one
And
has
even
that
one
weird, ambiguous.
One has
downer
that we don't
ending.
know how to end this, so here's every ending that we can think of.
Yeah, she doesn't really get a happy ending until New Nightmare, where she's just playing herself, where she's not Nancy.
Yeah. But a common theme that you're gonna see in the rest of my list is like I like characters that are smart. I like characters that actually try. I don't like,
try.
Try. I don't like characters where the plot comes to them or like they're very passive protagonists.
Yeah, like it's probably sacrilege that Lori didn't make any of our top 5 if she didn't keep dropping the knife.
Yeah.
If she keep doing that, that bumps her up a little higher.
Tyler says Noah better not pull out Bella Swan as his final girl, Twilight the Peak Slasher. He probably does have Bella as his number 1. And then Adam Arch says Nancy is so great. Yeah, she's great. That's also a character like Nightmare is, as much as I'm hesitant to recast Freddy, that is a movie I'd like to see rebooted because I would like to see a true ending for Nancy. And maybe rough out some of the rough edges in that original movie. Like, I love Heather Langenkamp. She's not the greatest actress. Some of those line deliveries are rough.
I think
my
she
favorite
got better
being
as she got older.
when she sees that she has white hair, she's like, "My God, I must be 20 years old." Shut up.
It's like, yeah, you are. Yeah, like I'll just rattle off my next couple because we've already covered them. Because my number 5 was Lauren Rivera as Sienna in Terrifier, and my number 4 is Heather Langenkamp as Nancy. So I'm just gonna echo everything Noah was saying, where the character's great, her performance isn't the best. I also think she becomes a better actress throughout that
She's so
franchise
much
from
better
Yeah.
in 3.
Yeah,
And then New
for sure.
Nightmare, I think, is the best performance I've seen from her. But
Yeah, but
there's
she's
still
also just playing herself in 7. I feel weird about like trying to classify that
Yeah,
as a
but
it's
performance.
still a performance. Yeah.
yeah, not everyone can play themselves well.
Yeah, but in
Yeah,
that
that's
first
fair.
one, but even though I don't think she's the best actress of the first one, it's still she still brings a likability to that character. You're still rooting for her. I'm not taken out of the movie or distracted like, oh man, this girl can't act. Like she's still it's not for lack of effort or passion, that she brings to the role. And that I think still elevates her quite a bit. So yeah, Nancy's my number 4. I like her a lot.
Okay. All right. So let's see. As I said, my 5. So my number 4 is Nika Pierce. I think she's great in the last 2 Chucky movies. Um, if you guys don't remember who that is the
Yeah,
wheelchair protagonist from what is it, Curse and Cult of Chucky.
person cult. Yeah,
Yes.
Also another. Oh,
And
why couldn't we think of these earlier? This is another Final Girl that arguably has one of the worst endings or worst fates of all time,
oh my god,
especially if you
yep,
factor in the show.
maybe
yep.
the worst of the ones we've talked about tonight.
But a lot of it
Yeah.
is. I do struggle to play myself. Put it on a facade. Um,
Yeah,
but a lot of it is just that performance. I think Fiona Dourif is great.
The daughter of Brad Dourif.
Yeah. She's even good at playing her dad.
playing Chucky.
um, but yeah, I like that character a lot, and I really wish the show hadn't gotten canceled so she could try to get like a better ending. I don't know what they do with her in season 3, if anything, but
Yeah,
justice for
hopefully,
Nika.
hopefully they get that movie off the ground or something to finish it.
Yeah. Noah, did you have you already said your number 4?
No, not yet. I will do my number 4, which is Naru from Prey. Great character.
It didn't make my list, but one of my honorable mentions.
Um,
Yeah, same.
yeah, she's my favorite protagonist in the Predator franchise.
Oh
Whoa,
wow.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on now.
I
Come
said
on.
it. Yeah, I said it. And I love Arnold. You know me. I'm a big Arnold. But I really like the underdog, and I've talked about Predator commentary we did. I really like how Prey is much more of an underdog movie than Predator. That movie is just about like two like big titans going at each other. I mean, the Predator still outclasses the military guys, but it's a lot more compelling for me to see someone who's not as trained in that kind of stuff go up against a big threat like the Predator. Um, so yeah, and she's also not like an overly powerful character. We see her learn stuff and like adapt to the situations in that movie. They don't make her perfect, which I really appreciate.
I
So
love how he's listing all these things, but you could apply those same things to Dutch and Donald Glover in Predator 2.
Donald Glover.
Or Danny.
Uh,
Wait,
First of all, that's
Danny
not even
Glover?
Danny Glover. Oh no, wait, yeah, it is. Sorry. For a second, I thought you were talking about Carl. This one,
I said in Predator 2. It's Danny. I don't know how
Danny
I could have
Glover.
possibly gotten those
Oh
mixed
my
up.
god, we're all mixed up tonight.
Adam Arch, you apparently don't love Arnold that much, Noah. Yeah.
I do love
Yep.
Arnold that much. It's all right. Arnold's great. He would be my number 1 final girl, but he doesn't count. So
He'll make our final boy list just because it's
Yeah.
really funny to put Arnold Schwarzenegger on a final boy list.
he's a final boy.
Let's see.
If you think of him and Andy from Child's Play on the same list.
Okay,
Yes.
so Robert, you said your number 4.
Yeah.
I've said my number 3.
Did you say
No,
your
what
number
is
4?
Yeah, my number
Okay,
4 is
well,
Nika.
Oh yes, yeah.
it's my turn.
Well, I'm trying to keep them in numerical order. You'd already said your number 4, right?
This is off the rails. We've not been consistent at all. But no,
Well,
it's
I'm
just
trying to be.
my turn.
Okay, who hasn't
Okay,
said their number
stop.
3?
Okay, stop for
I
a
haven't
second.
said my number 3.
We haven't.
Okay.
Right. So I haven't said my number 3. Noah,
Okay.
which number did you just say?
4.
Okay. So then, Robert, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor in The Terminator.
And wouldn't you know it, that's also my number 3.
Heyo, we synced up
Robert and
again.
I synced up again. Yep.
She didn't make my list just because I like that character a lot, but everything I like is in 2, where she's not really a final girl, and I kind of forgot.
It's fine. It's
But no,
fine.
I like her. I
So
like her, but most of
beneficial.
what I like from her is in 2.
Yeah, she's definitely more interesting and more badass in 2. But then if you're looking at the rest of the franchise, it's another Laurie Strode situation where the highs and lows. Either
Yeah.
she dies from cancer, or she's in whatever the fuck we're doing with her in Dark Fate, or she's recast in Genesis, and I don't know, a very
Blah.
inconsistent.
Adam Mark says justice for Robert, and she is the objective number 3. I'm happy with Nancy being my number 3. But yeah, feel
What's
free.
funny though is like even though she does have the best stuff to do in 2, and 2's technically not a slasher movie, I know, I still have her on my list based on how she's characterized in 2, and like most of what she gets to do in 2. But I like her story in 1 as well.
Yeah, she's good in 1. But I think if I was just ranking based on 1, I don't know if I like her any more than anyone else on my list. She probably should have been on my honorable mentions list, but I forgot.
You son of a bitch.
Okay, so now everybody has said their number 3.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. My number 2, I don't know if this would be on your guys' list because I'm mostly counting this for the first movie in this franchise, but is Ellen Ripley.
Oh my god.
Ellen Ripley is my number 1.
Oh,
nice. That doesn't
okay.
surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen Ripley is also my number 2.
Okay.
Okay.
I think she is one of the best examples I've seen of what we talked about earlier in our list of it's just like a real person. Like
Yes.
she's just a member of the star of this ship. But Sigourney Weaver plays her excellently. And ignoring the convoluted sequels as much as I love some of them, just in that number 1, that first movie, she's a great final girl. A great example of a strong female character.
Yes.
Yeah, I like her a lot.
Yeah, and I mostly, I think 1 through, and I know you guys are going to jump at me, but 3, her story, how it tracks through that, I think is one of the most compelling final girl stories. I know she gets a really depressing ending in 3. Yeah, she gets a really depressing ending in 3.
You gotta add
but
in Resurrection because that's the best part of her story.
yeah, but I'm not going to add in Resurrection because fuck that movie. Anyway. Yeah, no, Ripley's a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier, where she's a completely active protagonist. Even in 2, and like 2 is arguably like that's not a slasher movie. That's arguably not even really a horror movie, but
it's an action horror movie.
It's an action horror movie, but that is the movie where some of my favorite stuff with Ripley is in that movie. So I also included her based on more so Aliens than Alien, even though I love her in Alien as well.
Okay. So that was your number 2 as well. So then Noah, go ahead and say your number 2, and then Robert and I will do our honorable, dishonorable mentions.
Yeah. So my number 2. Yeah, and this was between this and Ripley for my number 1, but ultimately I like Ripley more as a character, and I've had more time to live with the Alien franchise than this franchise. But my number 1 for traditional slasher movies is Sidney Prescott.
That's my number 1.
Yeah, she was gonna be my number 1 for a long time.
But
I
then
thought
you
about
realized
it
you were a
more.
fraud.
Then I realized I'm more of an Alien fan than a Scream fan, so that was really the deciding factor. But As traditional, slasher final girls go, Sydney's great. She's kind of a subversion of the trope too. In the first one, they make a big deal of how, the it's only the girls that have sex, or like the promiscuous ones, that are the ones that die. She ends up having sex and then being the one to kill the killer at the end. So I thought that was really well done, and Nev Campbell plays her brilliantly. She's really good in most of those movies. Not that she's bad in like the newer one or like 5, but I
She
really
doesn't get
don't.
anything to do in 5.
She really doesn't have anything to do in 5, and I kind of don't need her to come back after the first 4 anyway. Yeah, I don't. I don't.
No,
I'm not interested in
Her story
7.
is done.
Or,
Let's leave her alone.
what I like
yeah.
about Sydney is, like you said, she is a subversion, but while feeling like a real character, not just aren't we clever? We subverted the formula. Sydney always feels like a real person, even in the bad Scream movies like 3 and 5. I'm rooting for her. I want her to live, even though they keep bringing her back. And like you said, Nev
Yep.
Campbell just plays her excellently. And she actually grows and changes over the 4 films that she's in.
Yeah, that's what's cool about City is like we get to, for the most part, stick with her POV and actually see her grow up and become an adult throughout that series, which is really cool and not something you get a lot for Final Girls. Like you guys said, we subverted some things with her in the first one. Almost 30 years, by the way, but there's still people acting like we haven't done that who don't know this genre very well.
People also say that the genre hates women.
Is not true.
Nope.
We just named 10 examples of it not.
Yeah, and also to what Noah was talking about, though, it's like even all the boxes you think of like the stereotypical final girl. A lot of the women on our list don't check every box. Jess in Black Christmas is pregnant at the start of that film. Like that's part of the story. A lot of the Ellen Ripley, like she's not a teenager; she's a working adult. So a good variety of different types of characters on our list, which was something I really wanted to spotlight. That like these aren't all, believe it or not, it's not just the same type of character and type of person in these horror movies over and over again. Yeah, there are tropes, yeah, there are cliches, and we do a lot of similar movies a lot, but there's still decent variety that I think a lot of people overlook or don't appreciate. And yes, of course, Nev Campbell as Cindy is my number one. I love Scream, I love that character. Hope they don't ruin her. They probably will. But for now,
Adam
I'm
Marsh says
very
get ready for her
satisfied.
in 7.
Yeah.
Well, and the nice thing is with Scream is even if 7 is bad, like 6 was, I can just ignore it, and I'm happy with 1 through 4.
Yeah, I'm happy with what we got.
Yeah, I'll
It's
watch
crazy
7.
though.
I gotta watch it for the channel. But if it's bad, it just at this point it goes into the pile of bad Scream movies.
I'm not seeing it in theaters, but I probably will like rent it or stream it somehow. But yeah, it's pretty crazy that we were this close to all of us syncing up on our number ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I ruined
I
it.
didn't even think that Ellen would make that Ripley would be number 1 for you. I should have.
Yeah, it's me. I love Alien.
Yeah. Okay, real quick, Robert, because I know we both have honorable mentions. Did you have any dishonorable mentions? I don't remember. That was 40 minutes ago.
I didn't have any dishonorable mentions.
Okay, so like I mentioned, I'm just gonna run through because I got 3. Chris from Friday 3. I don't remember who this is now. Hold on. I gotta Google.
Who is this person?
Well, normally if I was like I'm gonna forget, I would put it next to it. But I didn't do that for some reason.
Oh, thank you, Adam March. I agree. I have the correct top 3.
Teddy says for newer ones, Sienna is my favorite. So next is a character named Jamie Hughes, who I had to Google because I forgot, but she is from that movie Totally Killer, and she's on here for one reason because that's the like Back to the Future horror slasher movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They have this really annoying running gag where she keeps trying to tell people from the 80s why they're problematic, and it's really fucking annoying. You're in the 80s. You're not going to change their minds. Stop it.
I think that could be a funny idea, just depending on how it was executed. Like, if the movie isn't on the side of the protagonist, I think that could work for some fun satire. But I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll play better on a second viewing because I would like to watch it again. I like that actress. It's the Sabrina
Kiernan
actress from
Shipka.
that Netflix show. And then last, this is like low hanging fruit at this point, but it's Nancy from the Nightmare remake. She sucks.
Yeah, she's awful.
I didn't even
Sorry,
think about
Noah.
including remake version, like separating them as different versions.
Well, she's got a different last name. She's a different person.
I guess that's true. I hate that movie, so I wouldn't even
No,
know.
that's your favorite.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
Because
my favorite movie of all time.
when I was going through the list, Aaron from the Texas Chainsaw popped up on the list. I was like, yeah, but I don't remember this character. I feel like her character trait was, well, it's Jessica Biel, and Jessica Biel's hot. That's it. That's the character.
She also makes some stupid decisions. No, if I was including a dishonorable mention, I'd definitely include the one from the Netflix Texas
Oh
Chainsaw
God.
Probably.
I don't even remember who that is.
That's a very annoying character. Who, again,
Which one is the final girl though? I don't remember.
Well, that movie really. Now we're getting sidetracked. That movie really has two final girls, but the one I'm talking about is the one who dies at the very end. But it is very annoying.
Damn.
Yeah, not a
Tyler
great
says
movie.
we should get a bottom 10 final girl. Maybe one day.
That would take a lot more thought and effort
Yeah.
on my part.
I think we
Yeah.
should do what John was talking about earlier, where we do like another one of these streams on just like general like Survivor type
That's
characters, and
probably
then
what we would do.
we can also talk about the worst ones on that one.
We'd all have the same number one, right, Noah?
Yes.
Get in line now. Adam Arch, poor Rooney Mara. That movie really sucks. Yeah.
So, to
Go ahead
rattle
and run
off
through
my
your honorables.
honorable mentions, and most of these are movies I don't count as slasher movies, which is why they weren't included. Like Samara Weaving and Ready or Not's great. Virginia Madsen and Silence of the Lambs is great. Or not, sorry, Virginia
Wait a
Madsen
minute.
and Candyman. Jodie Foster is in Silence of the Lambs, who is also great. Of course, I wish I had Barbara Crampton on my list somewhere, but I couldn't find any ones I'd call a final girl, but like Reanimator or From Beyond, but great actress. And then some of my other ones were I had two for Anya Taylor-Joy as Casey in Split, which kind of counts. It comes close to counting, and then Margot in The Menu, which is not a slasher film, but she is very technically a final girl. She is the final girl of that movie, but it's not a slasher. But Anya Taylor-Joy is
I'm shocked she
great.
made an honorable mention. Like I remember that she's in that movie, and I remember she plays a character. I don't remember much else.
She's great.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also have Ashley Lawrence as Kirsty in Hellraiser, who I would have included if I knew we were cheating. And Patricia Tallman as Barbara in the Night of the Living Dead remake is great.
Oh yeah.
Almost made my list. Not OG. That's an example of not OG Barbara. The remake Barbara is great.
No, OG Barbara would be on Noah's list.
And then my top three. These are the big ones that I don't consider slashers, but if I knew we were cheating, I totally would have included because I love all the three of these. Of course, Amber Midthunder as Naru and Prey. But then I guess that one kind of counts as a slasher.
That counts.
So that one's fine.
That counts.
And then I also have Shawnee Smith as Meg in the Blob remake, who's great. Very underrated. And my number one, the big one for me that I wish I had included in hindsight is that I'm surprised hasn't come up at all tonight, is Jane Levy as Mia in the Evil Dead remake / reboot.
That's really went back and
didn't make
forth
my top 10
on if that counts, but it's like it's not really a slasher. So I didn't put it, but no, Mia's great. Adam Arch, but she gets to mention because she's Anya Taylor-Joy. John, get with the program. I'm sorry. Tyler, poor Robert had to wait the whole video just to do his honorable mentions because his picks kept getting taken throughout the videos. I mean, I asked him to do it at the start, and he's like, "No, we got to do it after."
Because I don't know them. It's fine. This is
Tyler,
my idea.
no, why did you cheat? Yeah, no, why did you cheat? Okay, so I don't have as nearly as many um honorable mentions because I did, even with honorable mentions, I tried to keep it within the slashers. This is just people that didn't quite make the list. Either they're not as good as other people, or it's just like, I can't put them that high. So my first one is Alice from the first Friday, and 90% of it is just for that chase sequence at the end that's amazing.
Yep.
Other than that, she's kind of nothing. Um, I also have Tina Shepard from Friday the 13th. I think she's cool. I like her. Great fight at the end. Um,
Is that 7? Which one's
yes, that is not Carrie.
okay?
Yeah,
okay.
not Carrie. Yeah, she's cool. Of the final girls
Great
of
fight. That fight makes the movie.
of all the final girls of that series, that's the one that would have been on my honorable mentions had I remembered to make an honorable mentions list. So
I also threw in Jessica Kimball, even though I don't like this movie. She is the final girl of Jason Goes to Hell. I think she's pretty cool. She gets some cool moments, some dumb moments too, but it's just unfortunate she's stuck in a crappy movie. Adam Arch, never any love for Nightmare on Elm Street Alice. The problem is just
Like Alice.
I don't go back to the 4 and 5 a lot. She's fine.
Yeah,
She's
because it's
also a
the
bad
downgrade
movies.
from Patricia Arquette in 3.
4 and 5 are like the same movie.
I went ahead and threw Naru on here because I didn't even think about that, but since everybody else did, I'll do it. And then I misspelled this one, so I don't know what I was trying to say, so I'm not going to mention it.
Damn, don't leave us in suspense.
And yeah, I will say Tyler says Alice is great in Friday Part 2. Oh,
for the one scene she's in.
which is 75% just recapping the first movie. But yeah, Mia's great. Mia will probably make it on a list if we do the like general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to shout out Jane Levy. She's awesome.
Yeah. But that is our top 10 final girls from the slasher genre, plus a couple other genres if you're Noah. If you're on Adam March, Austin would be the final girl in the Haven of Horror movie. Austin is a
That's
final
true.
girl.
Yeah.
If you're on YouTube, this stream is going to end, but then we're immediately going to jump into another stream that is up. We are going to play some more Resident Evil 4 because Robert lives under a rock and has never seen it in his life.
Yep, that is
And we are on
completely
a
true.
quest. We are on a quest to finish all of them before Requiem in February.
Including the spinoffs, right?
Yes. No. Dear God, no. Uh, I was going to say something that Robert, you keep derailing my thoughts.
That's why I'm here.
Train of thought crashed.
So we'll be doing Resident Evil 4, and then this Thursday, Hayden and I will be playing some more State of Decay 2. If you're on Twitch, we're not going to be going anywhere. We're just a BRB screen. So thank you guys very much for watching on YouTube, and we will see you over on the Resident Evil 4 stream.
See ya.